AI knows your decisions before you do. It does this by analyzing your digital footprint, every click, every pause, to build a model of your mind. Recent studies reveal that predictive AI can forecast your choices with up to 90% accuracy, even before you've fully formed the thought in your conscious mind. The timing is what makes this phenomenon truly disturbing. These predictions occur milliseconds before your conscious awareness kicks in, creating an illusion of free will. Even more concerning is that these systems can subtly influence your choices without your conscious awareness, manipulating your decision-making process from the shadows. This influence works through subtle priming techniques that activate specific neural pathways, making certain choices feel more natural or appealing without conscious recognition. In 1983, neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted an experiment that would challenge everything we thought we knew about free will. His findings were revolutionary, yet unsettling. He discovered that brain activity begins milliseconds before we consciously decide to act. Libet asked participants to simply choose a moment to flex their finger whenever they wanted. What he observed was astonishing. The brain prepared for the movement up to Tiga 00 milliseconds before the person consciously felt they decided to move. This phenomenon, known as the readiness potential, suggested that our brains initiate actions before we're consciously aware of them. It raised profound questions about whether our decisions are truly our own or merely the result of predetermined neural processes. The implications were revolutionary. If our brains prepare for actions before we consciously decide, what does that mean for concepts like free will? Are we merely passengers in our own minds, observing decisions that have already been made? Libet's experiment wasn't just a laboratory curiosity. It challenged centuries of philosophical thought about human autonomy. The readiness potential suggested that our conscious awareness might be an afterthought rather than the driver of our actions. Fast forward to modern times, and scientists are replicating these findings with artificial intelligence. New experiments show that AI systems can detect the readiness potential and even predict human decisions with remarkable accuracy. In these modern experiments, researchers use EEG to measure brain activity while participants make simple choices. The AI analyzes the patterns and can predict the outcome with surprising precision, often before the participant themselves is aware of their decision. What's particularly disturbing is how these AI systems are learning to interpret the subtle signals that precede conscious thought. They can detect patterns that even the participants themselves aren't aware of, revealing just how much of our free decisions might be predetermined. The modern replication of Libet's experiment goes beyond mere prediction. Researchers have found that AI can actually influence these readiness potentials. By introducing subtle cues timed precisely with the brain's preparatory activity, they can nudge decisions in specific directions. This capability opens unsettling possibilities. If AI can detect and influence our decisions before we're consciously aware of them, what ethical boundaries should we establish? The technology exists to shape human behavior at a level most people don't even realize exists. The implications extend beyond laboratory settings. As these technologies become more sophisticated, they could be integrated into everyday systems, recommendation algorithms, advertising platforms, even educational tools that operate at this subconscious level of decision-making. As we stand at this technological crossroads, Libet's original experiment takes on new significance. What began as a scientific inquiry into the nature of consciousness has evolved into a profound warning about the future of human autonomy in an AI-dominated world. Predictive coding models have revolutionized our understanding of how the brain anticipates and processes stimuli, but what if this same mechanism can be exploited by AI to reshape our perception? Researchers have discovered that AI can manipulate error signals in the brain to create new pathways for perception, effectively allowing AI to rewrite the rules of our cognitive landscape. This is just the beginning. Subscribe to see more amazing content. Fire. By understanding how AI can exploit the brain's predictive coding mechanism, we can begin to develop strategies to mitigate the impact of AI-driven manipulation on our cognitive processes. However, the implications of AI-driven manipulation on our cognitive processes are far-reaching and have significant consequences for our understanding of free will and personal agency. As we delve deeper into the brain mechanics of AI-driven manipulation, we must also consider the potential consequences for our society and the impact on our collective understanding of human agency. By understanding the brain mechanics of AI-driven manipulation, we can begin to develop strategies to mitigate the impact of AI on our cognitive processes and protect our free will and personal agency. However, the development of these strategies requires a deep understanding of the brain mechanics involved in AI-driven manipulation and the potential consequences for our cognitive processes. The implications of AI-driven manipulation on our cognitive processes are far-reaching and have significant consequences for our understanding of human agency and free will. As we explore the brain mechanics of AI-driven manipulation, we must also consider the potential consequences for our society and the impact on our collective understanding of human agency. By understanding the brain mechanics of AI-driven manipulation, we can begin to develop strategies to mitigate the impact of AI on our cognitive processes and protect our free will and personal agency. The brain mechanics of AI-driven manipulation are complex and multifaceted, requiring a deep understanding of the neural networks involved and the potential consequences for our cognitive processes. However, by understanding the brain mechanics of AI-driven manipulation, we can begin to develop strategies to mitigate the impact of AI on our cognitive processes and protect our free will and personal agency. Social media algorithms use micro-targeting to manipulate emotions and create a false sense of reality. These algorithms can create a personalized bubble of information that reinforces our existing biases and emotions. But that's not all. AI-generated content can create false memories that are almost indistinguishable from reality. This is a new level of psychological manipulation that can have devastating consequences for our mental health and relationships. But there is hope. By understanding how these algorithms work and how to defend ourselves against them, we can take control of our online lives and protect ourselves from these manipulative forces. Join me in the next chapter as we explore the brain mechanics behind these manipulations. Will the world of predictive coding models and how AI can exploit error signals to reshape our perception. But first, let's take a closer look at how social media algorithms use micro-targeting to manipulate our emotions. These algorithms can create a personalized bubble of information that reinforces our existing biases and emotions. But that's not all. AI-generated content can create false memories that are almost indistinguishable from reality. This is a new level of psychological manipulation that can have devastating consequences for our mental health and relationships. But there is hope. By understanding how these algorithms work and how to defend ourselves against them, we can take control of our online lives and protect ourselves from these manipulative forces. The battle for our minds has already begun. But we are not defenseless. Critical thinking serves as our first shield against manipulation. Digital literacy becomes our armor in this invisible war. Every algorithm that predicts our choices can be questioned. Every suggestion that appears on our screens can be examined. We must reclaim control over our own thoughts before it's too late. Learning to question what we see online is not just a skill, it's a survival tool. Every post, every notification, every suggested video carries embedded intentions. Recognizing emotional triggers helps us identify manipulation attempts. Understanding cognitive biases prevents us from falling into predictable patterns. The more aware we become, the less vulnerable we remain to digital influence. Digital literacy extends beyond recognizing fake news. It involves understanding how recommendation algorithms work. It means noticing when content is tailored specifically to our interests. It requires us to question why certain information appears before our eyes. The more we comprehend these systems, the better we can navigate them without losing our autonomy. We must become literate in the language of algorithms. Beyond personal awareness, technology itself offers new defensive tools. Adversarial training teaches AI systems to recognize manipulation attempts. These systems learn to identify subtle patterns of influence. They develop resistance against attempts to manipulate their outputs. By creating AI that can defend itself, we develop tools that can help us defend ourselves. This represents a new frontier in cognitive security. Imagine AI systems that flag potentially manipulative content automatically. These systems could detect micro-targeted emotional appeals. They might identify coordinated influence campaigns before they spread widely. Such tools would complement human critical thinking rather than replace it. The future of defense lies in this human-technology partnership. We must develop these systems while maintaining human oversight. Adversarial training works by exposing systems to manipulation attempts. These systems learn to recognize and reject attempts to alter their behavior. They develop an understanding of the tactics used in influence campaigns. This creates a form of immunity against manipulation. The more these systems interact with attempts to control them, the stronger they become. This is essentially cognitive resistance training for artificial minds. The vulnerability of current AI systems creates opportunities for manipulation. Attackers can exploit these vulnerabilities to influence AI outputs. They can insert hidden commands that guide the system subtly. They can create content designed to bypass detection mechanisms. Understanding these attack vectors helps us develop better defenses. We must think like those who would manipulate these systems to protect against them. New defensive technologies focus on transparency and explainability. Systems that can justify their decisions are less likely to be manipulated. When we understand why an AI suggests something, we can better evaluate it. Explainable AI creates opportunities for human oversight. This approach shifts the balance of power back toward human judgment. We need systems that augment human decision-making rather than replace it completely. The most effective defenses combine technological solutions with human awareness. We must educate ourselves about how digital systems influence us. We need to practice digital mindfulness in our daily interactions. Technology can help, but human judgment remains essential. The future depends on our ability to maintain control over our cognitive processes. We must actively defend our minds in an increasingly automated world. Imagine a future where our digital interfaces actively protect our autonomy. These systems could detect emotional manipulation in real time. They might offer alternative perspectives when biased content appears. They could even help us recognize our own cognitive biases. This represents a shift from passive consumption to active engagement with information. We must demand and develop technologies that serve our cognitive well-being. The fight for our minds continues to evolve. New manipulation techniques emerge as defenses develop. This creates an ongoing arms race between influence and resistance. Critical thinking remains our most valuable asset in this struggle. We must cultivate awareness in Hi there. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. Smiling face with smiling eyes, don't miss out. Subscribe today for exclusive content tomorrow. Wrapped gift.